was different from what Madison told us he said. So he told us, it was good seeing you. I like your pink hair. Like thinking that's like funny, like your pink hair, like whatever. And she read back like directly, which was correct because he didn't even deny it. And she said that he said, loving the pink hair, wish we could have talked more. That is different.
That is flirty as fuck, y'all. Totally that different. Is a flirty text.
That person is trying to get into your pants or at least your conversational pants, because that is totally different than good seeing you, like your hair. Good seeing you, like your hair is like end of story. That can get wrap up in 1 or 2 comments. Wishing we could have talked more means let's talk. Let's talk right now.
Yeah. And your hair is hot. And I think you're hot.
I'm already saying love. I'm already saying love to you. Whereas I can't even tell Monica I love her.
Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like. We are back in action about Love is Blind Season 8, because now we've built this case about these 4 couples and also bonus couple of Lauren and Dave to then be able to talk about the reunion that was the juiciest of Love is Blind reunions.
It was excellent. There was a lot of tea, a lot of tea. It's 8:30 at night. The words are wording, but it was a blast. I loved watching it, and I loved all the couples who didn't necessarily get engaged who joined. I thought they were a really nice addition to have them as a part of the story, because last season, remember, there were just the weird holes in the plot, and I was like, what the hell happened with these people?
Last season was so weird, and honestly, the reunions have not been that good. Like, it wasn't just the one that was like a cultural moment because it was live, and watching everyone make these hilarious jokes about Netflix not knowing how to do live TV. And I was one of the people that got in or whatever, because not even everyone got in when they finally started working. But it was a very big moment, honestly. But it was terrible that happened. And then it's also like been so much about the Lachey's. Like they just make it so much about them and like wanting babies and whatever. So I thought this time they did a great job just like removing themselves a little bit from it, being more focused on the folks there, which is really good. I will also just throw in a little disclaimer here that we're now doing it live instead of the pre-recorded hour-long disclaimer. So we are psychotherapists, but not your psychotherapist, nor the psychotherapists of the people we're talking about from reality TV, because we haven't met them and we don't know them personally, so we can't assess them. Therefore, if we talk about diagnosis, it's just really more of like a wondering or like a curiosity, certainly not a real label for anybody. So just have that in mind when you hear what we have to say about the folks that were at the reunion.
Indeed. Indubitably.
This was 5 years. 5 years for Love is Blind. First of all, what the fuck? Who cares? Yeah, sorry. It was a wow. You're so positive.
I thought you were going a different direction. I was trying to be supportive.
No, you were being so supportive. It was so sweet. It was really sweet. It is a little bit of a wow, and it's also a little bit of a what the fuck. Also, just because, especially like it's season 8, like it'd be one thing if it was like also season 5, like it just doesn't really matter enough to me because it just sort of, you know what I mean? It's not like, it doesn't really track with what, I don't know. There's something about it where I just was like, okay, maybe if it was like 10 years, maybe I'd feel differently. I don't know. But 5 just sort of felt like, okay.
10 years, 16 episodes. Because I'm grateful that they're on their little multi-year cycle. It works for me. I want more of this show. It's always fun to watch. But yeah, it's 5 years of Love is Blind is not that deep.
Right. And then doesn't it, because it's multiple seasons a year, doesn't that make you wonder like why it's not 10? Like why are we on season 8? So there were 2 years that were just one a year, I guess. Maybe the first 2 seasons.
And then they were like, oh, this is working for us. We can make this really cheaply. And though this season they got some real drops. Like the songs were actually real songs. That was a nice change from all the weird fake music.
I loved the music. I didn't need the concert that happened during the reunion. I mean, I didn't not need it. It wasn't a bad thing, but I didn't need it. It sort of was like the buildup was like our first ever musical performance. Made it sound like A, it would be live. It was not. And then B, sounded like it'd be someone I'd know, which it was not. So I just sort of was like, oh, that's a little anticlimactic. I wish they had just said, we're going to have somebody's music video set in the pods. Like, I wish they just called it what it was at the beginning instead of making it sound more fancy. Because then I was just sort of was like, oh, okay, whatever.
The pods also make me sad. They make me think of like a dystopian reality where there's no sunlight. It kind of freaks me out. So I'm not like, ooh, good music video, pods.
Ooh, but cool, dude. Yeah, no, it reminds me of like working at the VA when my office had no windows and I was basically in an old closet. It's what it feels like. It's just don't need it. I don't need that kind of oppressive energy.
No, thank you. No, thank you, VA
No,
closet.
no.
My friend had that at our internship too. We drew straws, and I got the window. She did not.
That's so good.
We were across from each other, and I was just like, "Oh, that sucks."
I don't know how to help you there. Yeah, it does. It bites. It is hard. Like, and going to a therapist too, like every therapist I've had, including my current therapist, has always had windows. It's something like, right, like dystopian about being in, and like, it's like being at a casino where you don't know what time it is because everything's, enclosed.
Gets a little weird. And then if it's like hers was, you're so close together because it's just small, and that can get a little weird too.
Schizoid folks do not like that. I had a client who was schizoid who would like literally almost fall back in his chair trying to get away from me, which I was like, I get it, dude. This is not fun. This space is not ideal. Like,
isn't it funny how when you're in a close kind of space with a client, with some clients it feels fine, and with others it's like, this is not enough space between us. It's so weird.
Yeah. I think I read that on their comfort level. Like, I personally don't mind being close to, like, my personal bubble is relatively small, but with clients, obviously I'm respectful of wanting space of their space, but certainly also there's a certain level of like professional amount of space too. But with there's some clients where you can like read on them that they're sort of like, and I'm feeling squished, and then I'm like,
and then you're like,
that's not true now, though. We have these nice offices. We have windows, offices at work. I love my office. And so that's a gift. That's a gift. That's a real privilege. Oh, I just hit my mic. Sorry, Connor.
Whoops.
Okay. Listen, we already did our check-ins about this because these were originally going to be one episode of the 6 or 5 couples-ish with Lauren and Dave and the reunion. So we're just segueing right into the reunion here, and we'll continue down that road. And actually, we've already started because we're talking about the some of the things that happened in it. I will say too, like you brought up, there were other people that came. We haven't talked about Madison or Mason or Megs or Alex.
No, we haven't. And yes, we will get that opportunity. I do have thoughts on some of them. They were interesting little love triangles. But
I do have as a honorable mention right up top on the beginning of it was Daniel's tattoo. So why don't we address that? Because honestly, that's kind of the only thing that matters about Daniel and Taylor, because they are the one couple that got married. I don't have a separate section about them. I think they're super cute together. They seem very happy. And to anyone who didn't see the reunion, Daniel now has a tattoo of Taylor's eyes, but it looks like he like took a picture of her and like cut out a slice of her face because there's still like shaded in strip of skin around the eyes. Oh, it's not like just eyes.
It's so creepy.
So weird.
It's not good. He could have gotten a really creepy edit on this show. I think I said that off mic. Like they laid the groundwork for that with the Instagram thing, which whatever. I don't know if he did or didn't. It's neither here nor there, I guess. But like that and a few other things, like, I'm not going to give you a chance to say no. And then the eyes on the chest. Luckily, he's very sweet in a lot of other ways, but yeah, those are kind of 3 character traits that don't make him look awesome.
Not amazing. I will say, like, some of it I think Reese is like insecure and probably related to some of his height insecurity, but the tattoo doesn't. I'm not sure where that is coming from. And I also hope she had a say in it, but he didn't say she did. Like, he didn't say, like, I asked her first, she liked it. I think he might have said she likes it, like, in retrospect, but he definitely didn't say that she knew or didn't know before he did it. He specifically said, I called my tattoo artist. I had an idea. First, he says, when I first met her, that's like all I could think about was her eyes. Not true, because when you really first met her, you said that all you could think about was her, what did I say, lips or something? Because I put it in our notes from last time. All he actually said was about her lips first and smile. So false news, fake news. But he did end up bringing up her eyes. So he said it was all I could think about. So I just had this idea and I called my tattoo artist and he was like, that's a great idea. I would love to do that. I was like, no, he did not. I was like, stop it.
I'll take all your money.
Yeah, exactly. That's way more like what he was thinking, is that he would say yes to anything and at least he can do it, is what he was thinking.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, too much. So I think I said on the last pod too, like, the one way I will be on board with this, or maybe this was off mic, is that is if he also like adds other facial features to it over time, because just sitting by itself, like a strip of eyes, is like the most perturbing thing. Right on his chest, like, it wasn't even on his heart, right? It was on his right side.
No,
it wasn't even on his heart.
It was so weird. And imagine laying on a chest, looking into your own eyes that look so weird. Like, that's not sexy. That's not fun.
Especially like looking like it's cut out of a magazine.
maybe he has the fetish, or one of them has the fetish that the Walter Goggins, Sam Rockwell. Did you see White Lotus this week?
Of course. And that was incredible. That was an incredible scene. The Walter Goggins facial reactions were just out of this world. But so was Sam Rockwell. I mean, he was phenomenal. I was so good. Maybe I want to rail myself and be her and rail me.
So maybe that's what's happening. There's like I want to watch myself watching you.
Yeah, I want to watch you watch yourself on my chest while we fuck. Yes. Oh my God, that's incredible. Thank you for that reference. You're exactly right. That's got to be it.
That's what it is. We solved it.
And that's why he didn't want to tell us she had a say in it, because he didn't want to out her for her fetish.
Yeah, that was very good of him. So we support fetishes on the pod, and you do you. Literally.
Do you, baby? That's great. That's so good.
Oh my gosh.
That's so good. I love it. That's so true too. It's a little bit reminiscent of that, because there is something congratulatory about having. I honestly, I have to say, I was thinking about, like, if my husband said to me, I want to do this, like, because, it's like flattering, I imagine. I still think I would say no. I really do. I think I'd be like, please do not do that. Like, please don't. Not because I might not be your wife one day, but because, like, I don't want that on you. I don't want to be looking at my own eyes on your chest. I really don't think I do.
No. If my partner did it somewhere funny, like on his butt, I might be okay with it. But it's like,
for the
chest
humor.
it's like, then it's kind of a bit. But that wasn't a bit. That was very serious and sincere and weird.
Meant to be romantic.
But, yeah. Oh,
you know what I did like,
Daniel?
On the topic of tattoos, was Dave's, that he had his mom's handwriting tattooed on him, which I love. I don't, like, the words made a lot of sense, by the way, that, like, one thing he got was proud of you, which is, like, I think says a lot about his own stuff or his mommy stuff. But I do think that it was in her handwriting was amazing. I have a necklace that is with my dad's handwriting that says much love after he died. So, like, I really love that idea, and that made me think about my next tattoo. So I was like, okay, all right, good thinking.
Oh, that's adorable.
And now there's proof that it was related to Dave. Damn it. I'm just kidding. It was me first. I had the necklace first. I've had the necklace longer.
Yes. Longer than you've known about Dave.
Exactly. Oh, too funny. Okay. Well, I think that's enough on the tattoo. Certainly on Daniel and Taylor, who are happy campers. I will say it's cute that, for example, his dad is staying with her brother because he lives close to the hospital, because I guess Daniel's mom also got diagnosed with a rare cancer. So that's extremely sad. And then his dad is living with her brother at an apartment, which I think is so cute. Like, I love that. I love that idea of just the fact they're already integrated. So cute.
Very sweet.
Seems real. Seems lasting. So Devin and Virginia are the first couple we're going to talk about from Reunion. Actually, these are in order. So they were the first they talked to after Daniel and Taylor. So Devin and Virginia, I just couldn't do it. Nick Lachey, first question, asks Virginia why her opinion changed between seemingly wanting to marry him and then not wanting to at the altar. I was like, what? You could see my notes. I was like, why? Are we asking why Virginia didn't want to get married? What are we doing? I'm pretty sure she fucking made it super clear. Like, her testimonial was so on point. She was so clear about it. It was so obvious to me. I was like, yep, that all makes sense. Tracked. Great. We're done. Done here. As soon as they had the conversation in bed about the political views, I was like, we're done here. Like, I don't think we're doing this. It's not going to work. In my opinion, obviously I'm biased about that. Listen to our last podcast where I have a whole spiel about it, but I definitely think it's just too tough. It's too tough. It's too personal. So, and the political is personal. Personal is political. So, sure enough, she kind of goes back there and she says, for example, she's like, well, I'm not going to speak on Devin's politics, but I can tell you what mine are. Right. So then immediately we're like clued into the fact that whatever hers are not his. And she talks about a number of groups and having Muslim friends and religious freedom and so forth. Clearly he's more religious, and I think to the extent that his family might believe in, like, one true religion. So that's tough. I think also her point was, like, sort of like a lack of openness to xenophobia, like a lack of openness to to people who are with difference, and therefore like a xenophobia, I think is sort of what she was tapping into there. So she also said we got there emotionally, but not politically. She also brought up sexual. Didn't she say that? Or no? Did she say it like sexually? We weren't quite there yet either.
I don't remember that. But yeah, I know it came up a couple times.
Yeah.
Because interestingly, this wasn't as sexual as a season, or at least not as openly sexual, which maybe that's just Midwest shit.
I was going to ask that exact question. I've been wanting to ask you that. Is that like do you think it's cultural relevant? Like we had talked about how I thought that, erroneously thought that Utah was part of the Midwest. So I was imagining like Mormon influence where like definitely you don't have sex before marriage. Certainly Catholicism, you're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So like I understand if that was an element, but it was pretty clear even with Daniel and Taylor who didn't have sex before they got married that it wasn't a religious thing. It was just like it just sort of seemed to like make sense for them. Like I think it was more cultural really. So I was wondering if you could tell me more about like Midwestern values and how that might interact.
I think women were taught like if you have a lot of sex then people won't want to, that you're not like wife material.
Marriable.
It's kind of that. And I doubt that any of these women have that implicitly or explicitly, but maybe there's some implicit bias there with that where they're like, well, we're wives so we have to take it very slow and not give it away too quickly or whatever. I could imagine that maybe being the message or thought, or maybe they talked in both sides of the pause and were like, we're not going to be open about that. And we want to be respectful, which would be really cool. Maybe a combination of both. But I don't know. I really think before you marry someone, you really want to get in there, literally.
I think so too. That's definitely my bias. I definitely think you test drive the car. But that also includes living together too. Like I don't think I would marry someone I hadn't lived with yet. There's just too much of yourself that gets known from that if you didn't know that ahead of time could be like a real tough thing to get over. And you'd feel like you have to, especially in certain cultures where like you also don't believe in divorce. Like then you're stuck with whatever you get in there with.
Right. Woof. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. No way.
No, ma'am. I guess like, is there a world in which I could ask enough questions to know verbally that I could be aligned with someone sexually? Sure. Like I think there's like a series of questions like, are we going to be communicative? Like, are you going to take time to like make sure you know what my needs are and make sure you meet my needs? Are we going to be able to see this as like not one person gets off? Like, like how patriarchal are you in your sexual behaviors? Like there are certain questions I could ask and get answers to where I'd be like, this feels aligned, but you don't know that. And like plenty of people know what to say, right? Like they'll probably be like, of course, like, and then like get in there and they're like, what? Like, and so it's not really something you can believe, frankly. I don't think I could believe. I'd have to see it to believe it in terms of habits. So, yeah. And also, you want to know if, like, the chemistry is not even right. Like, you could get the ick, like, I don't know. That feels very
quickly. Oh, totally. I've done enough online dating to know, like, people can say some great, really cute things, and then you meet them, and then maybe things happen or don't, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I thought we were such a fit. And then no, not in any way. And yeah, they might have the pretty words, especially those leftist boys. They'll get you. My friends in DC. Ramses. Yeah. Ramses. Yeah, exactly. A great example of someone who knows the right things to say and is very cute.
And ultimately is very selfish in the bedroom.
So. Yup. Rough. Rough.
You say your friend from DC?
Oh, yes. My friend from DC who was dating a lot, who just those leftist men, they know what to say. But when you actually want to have a conversation about where things are at, it's all of a sudden they can't do it. But yeah.
That's so bad. You know what that reminds me of is like there's still this Protestantism in New England, especially like, but whatever, in general, our culture is pretty repressed, but certainly Protestantism is like really repressed. And there's this like boys club thing where it's like really much more about men getting their nut. It like honestly has so much to do with that. And like women aren't even really taught to like ask or want that by the sexual partnerships that happen in adolescence, because boys are not taught to value that, which is changing, I think, over time. But it definitely is like something where there's a lot of like frat guy culture stuff where it just like has nothing to do with women getting pleasure. It's fucking wild. And then there are plenty of people who do care about that. So that's a generalizability, but certainly there's like, plenty of leftist men who fall into that like frat boy, like Ivy League, who like got taught that like everything happens that they want to have happen. And therefore just like that same thing with women. So.
Ugh.
Garbage.
Be better. And don't be biphobic.
Well, and here's a shout out to all the men who do like to give back and not just receive, and do like women to be having pleasure, like women enough to want them to have pleasure. Here's a shout out to you. Good for you.
Who have basic empathy for another human's experience. Wow.
Yeah. You know? Reciprocity. What do you mean? Equity, reciprocity, couldn't be.
Mind blowing.
Facts. So we go, she's like, Devin says, I can look past certain things and not agree on everything, where she couldn't. Like, he's implying, like, he's okay with, like, not having to be perfect, but, like, she can't. Like, he's basically calling her intolerable, which is fucked. It's like, bro, you were not really okay with those things. So much so, she said she was protecting you. Like, she felt like she couldn't even go there with you because she knew you didn't want to have a conversation about it. Because you didn't want to be embarrassed that you know nothing about politics, didn't vote, don't know about, you know, like, that you would be conservative and not think about how your race factors in and not think about how your faith factors in, because you apparently think you can't be liberal and also Christian or Catholic. So that was
tough.
Wild. He also didn't know. So there was another question. This was the fucking, again, from the Lachey's, where they say to Virginia, well, you knew some of these things along with the process. So was there something that between the prenup and the wedding that happened? Because why would you sign a prenup if you weren't going to get married? Which is like crazy to me. Like, she was thinking, if I end up saying yes, I should have a prenup just in case. Like, I don't think that's even a real question. That's fucked. I like literally couldn't with these questions. But it turned out they were sort of fishing, because she tells us a story about the fact she found a note on his bedside table that was written by an ex-girlfriend, whom he was like, no, she's like a best friend. So like, I don't even think of her as an ex-girlfriend. She's an ex-girlfriend. Let's be real. She still is one, you know? And so she was a little worried about that because he didn't tell her about it, and he didn't tell her about seeing her. So how did he get this letter, frankly? Night before the wedding. So that's wild. And then she also tells us that his mom told her there was a check for $1,000. And she was like, oh, my boss gave you $1,000 for your big day. And she was like, okay. And then waited to see if he would bring it up, and he never does. He tries to say, like, well, I just didn't think it would matter until we got there. It's like, no. You didn't want her to know about it because you didn't want to have an argument about it if you didn't end up getting married, and you didn't want her to feel like entitled to any part of that. And frankly, I bet you might not have still, maybe wouldn't have brought it up. But certainly, I think he was like holding out because it's like, well, that's my part of the like family, you know, just in case something didn't go down, he wouldn't want to split it, which I think actually kind of makes a little bit of sense. But still,
I
like,
do
be
too.
honest. Yeah. Right?
I honestly, I think if I got a check from $1,000 to split with my person and I didn't know if they were going to say yes, and it was from my side of the family, I would be like, we'll see what happens on the day. But Andy should have told her about it.
I would tell her. Yeah. I would be like, listen, I got $1,000 from my mom's boss. I'm so happy to tell you about it now because I'm thinking we're getting married. But just so you know, I'm going to hold on to it. If we do decide to say no, like, I don't think it's really fair that we would split it. So I just want to let you know I have it, but it's ours if we want to use it as a nest egg. And otherwise, that's okay, but I'm going to keep it.
Right.
Or give it back. Yeah.
Exactly. I do think that makes sense, but yeah.
It was the lack of communication. It's ultimately stealing is what it looks like, you know?
Yeah.
It's what it looks like that's what one of my podcasts, the one with 2 Black women, they literally like, he's stealing from her. I'm like, that is kind of fair, but it is only because he lied. So then she brings home all sorts of gifts and asks for his help bringing it upstairs. And he literally was like, what? Like, can't you get that? And then he finally comes down and helps her and then goes, you could have gotten that. I would be pissed. And he came out with that activity that close to when they first started being engaged. I was like, wow, it only goes downhill from here, clearly. Like, that's not even his mean side yet. Like, so my husband and I both were like, what? Like, my husband would never, not for the life of him. He would like get mad at me if I brought my own in. He'd be like, no. Like, not to say that, you know, that's also has some sexism stuff wrapped up in it. But there's also a world in which like having a little bit of like respect for the fact she especially has to go up flights of stairs with a lot of stuff in her arms. Doesn't matter how much it is. If she's asking for help, you come help.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially when she's asking. Like, maybe help her anyway, just as a person who cares about your partner. But,
exactly. That's really where it comes from with my husband. It's just like out of like wanting to be helpful and be kind, not out of like not seeing me as capable. I think that's part of why I was like able to shift some of my views about it, because at the beginning I was like, no, like you know. And still I'm actually quite strong and I do a lot of stuff that shocks the fuck out of him because I have plenty of skills and strengths. But it's still in some cases I'm like, that's nice, whatever. I'm happy to have your help. Like, I don't need, you know. So especially if it's something you've agreed upon and talked about, I think it can look a different way. If it's something where he's like, I don't have that part of me because my back hurts, I have chronic pain and I can't do an extra flight of stairs, that's a great conversation to have. And then she has an understanding of it. Like, all of these things can be negotiated. The problem with traditional gender roles is when they aren't being communicated about and they're not being, you know, then it's like, right, that's part of what makes them oppressive and an issue and sexist. So these 2 came up to me very drunk, asking all about my business. Okay, so then it comes out that Devin essentially said that he broke up with her, but then the girls came up to him and talked to him about it, and it turned out really that she broke up with him. And so like then there's this whole thing happening about him like sort of lying about that to it was Madison and Molly, right?
I think so. Yeah. I kind of tuned that part out because I had lost interest in
it. Was at the end. It was at the end of their bit. It was at the end of their business there. But yeah, I mean, he also kind of like tried to defend himself by being like, there was this whole thing that was like my family versus her family, which I get, right? They're from different cultural backgrounds. I can feel that from both of the way that they were raised too. And then certainly we know politically they're different. So I can see that there might have been a little bit of like touchiness about differences across the aisle, if you will. Different kind of across the aisle, but also that across the aisle. There was a little bit of differences there, but it's not enough. It's not fair to like, it just felt like he was reaching to like put it back on her or like make it seem like it was his decision, which probably came out of insecurity. So understandable. Still, I was so impressed by her. She looked phenomenal. She came out and she explained it all to us very clearly. I felt like I had a full picture of it. So I appreciated her honesty about it. And her strength.
I agree. It was very helpful. Yes. It's very different than other seasons where it's like, what the fuck happened here? I'm so confused.
Yeah. And I still didn't appreciate the Lachey's fucking questions, but I still felt like she did a great job handling them. I think there's other ways. Like I understood they were trying to get at what they ended up getting at, but I just think there are other ways to do that than to make it seem like she wasn't already open about that shit. Like it made it seem like she hadn't told us already what was going on. I was sort of like, were you listening?
Yeah. It was kind of accusatory. Like, didn't you learn about this in the pods? What's wrong with you? Yeah. But what about him? I don't know. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for understanding.
Of course. So now we're on to Sarah and Ben, who, gosh, we learned some things about our friend Ben in this little time. He started off with a very scripted acknowledgement of his privilege. I was like, okay. And then quickly showed how little, in my opinion, I mean, I'm sure a part of him does want to work on his whiteness, maybe. But I think what I heard from him after that, I was like, I don't.
None of it was backed up.
Yeah.
It immediately fell apart. I also felt like you're so right about it being scripted. And also the way he was like front and center with it, he starts right off with it. He's like, well, I just want to be really clear. Like, I know that like I have some issues and I need to learn. And it's like, okay, first of all, just the way you rushed into that feels performative, like feels like you're patching using a Band-Aid. And it also felt like a way of like discrediting anything she would go on to say. Like the whole thing, I was just like, this is not and also his language wasn't great anyway. Like it still was not even a good scripted, like it just, and then he undid it quite a bit. So yeah, I totally agree. Performative is exactly the word.
I just want to acknowledge my feelings about that community, as he called them. So many fucking times. Weird guy.
Very.
And so, and then Sarah says she's not an expert and that she was like showing humility, I think, in her approach, which I really think she's passionate about being better about race, about sexual orientation. I could tell she made a slip up at one point. I can't remember what it was, with her sister and her partner. And she had like a moment of fragility, which was so relatable. She was like, oh, did I? Yeah. They were at the bar together. It was like, oh my gosh. And then the sister's girlfriend kind of took care of her a little bit. And I was like, that's
I think it was about acceptance.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. More than accept. It should be more than acceptance. And she's like,
well, that's just the word I have. She's like, well, I just have that word because I was told that word. Like, that's just the word I know. Like, sort of did that thing. Like, got a little defensive about it. Like you're saying, fragile about it. And then the partner was like, no, it's not. It's like, look, it's okay that you're using it. I'm just saying, like, the church shouldn't be, even when the church says they're accepting, it's like, they shouldn't be accepting, it's like, this is just, they should be embracing and, celebrating.
Right. Absolutely. Agreed. Like they would any other relationship. But yeah, so I think she really is learning and on a journey and doing great stuff.
Great points.
Yes. And then she talked about the church views on LGBTQ plus issues, and she was not impressed. Her like whole body language and vibe in that church cracked me the fuck up. It was so funny.
So good. She was like, not about it. And her point too is like, it's not even that he had, like, she knows we're all human. We know we make mistakes. She certainly makes mistakes too. She's no expert, but also like, it's the lack of curiosity, bro. And like, that is the thing. That is so the thing.
I loved that. I loved how she said that. I thought she hit the nail on the head.
She's getting all that flack for not being accepting. Oh, liberals, you're a liberal, but your liberals are the ones that are not accepting. It's like, that's not even actually what's happening at all there, like at all. Sorry.
Yeah,
He's being not accepting.
absolutely. And then she was very accepting of the TikTok video that he weirdly didn't tell her about. It was weird. He didn't like, she should have, did we talk about this last time?
Oh.
I can't remember. It was so weird. I was like, this whole thing smells awful right now.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even like tell her. He let it come out and then was like, oh yeah, that happened earlier and I just blocked her. And I'm like, this is fishy as fuck. Like this
so
is
fishy.
not, it
so
was
fishy.
And
he was
the
like,
way
that's about me.
Yeah,
she didn't even know it was about him. Yeah, I feel like. And then he was like, oh yeah, I think that's about me. And she's like, okay, what? Say more? Or that was staged, I don't know, but it was so weird.
So weird. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. They should have I mean, she had to have her journey. I get it. That to me was like this guy is not it.
It's like, get the fuck out of there. Especially because he said he doesn't remember, which is just not it for me. I'm not having it. Then why'd you block her? If you didn't remember what happened anyway, why would you block her? Why would you think it's about you if you don't remember? She might have slept with someone else. It's Minnesota small or whatever. And then the thing I do give her props about was the fact she was like, listen, anything else, I'm just not going to trust you. She wasn't like, you're an animal, like, blah, 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 blah. She was like, if there's anything else, I just won't trust you. Like that was, I thought, well handled as the point that she was making there.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a weird thing where they were good. They like kept dating and he said he was going to come to Nashville with her and just didn't. And then sent her a very scripted text and then decided to go to Jimmy and get some advice on how to handle their relationship. Bad choice.
Why, Jimmy?
Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah. Lands on a point about how inauthentic Ben was, which I think is what we were picking up on. Just none of it seemed very real.
Exactly.
And he had social media calling cards after sleeping with women. That is wild for his YouTube channel.
So
wild.
Bad. So bad. So makes sense. You have do you have a segment there?
Oh, I do. What was I? I thought more people would talk about his whole shtick and how fucking scripted and cringe he sounded. And I don't really think it came up that much. At least I didn't see it.
No. And really, it's like Jimmy probably gave him even a lot of that. Like, he probably was like, come up with a few lines that you feel comfortable saying. Like, think about the questions. Because he did tell him to practice the questions with Sarah, which is effed up and wild. I also feel like, the whole advice piece was fucking bizarre. I think he felt embarrassed that it was Jimmy. I don't think he was trying to protect Jimmy. I think he realized how dumb it would sound if he said he got that advice from Jimmy. And I loved that Sarah called it out. That was incredible. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention quickly was like one of his scripted answers was when she was like, I asked him about the LGBTQ plus stuff in his church. And he says, well, yeah, but like, I just didn't remember because like, why would I remember if it doesn't apply to me? I don't know anybody who, basically what he said. And I loved Daniel's fucking face because then I was like, okay, good. Daniel gets it just by his face alone because his face was so skeptical. I was like, right? Like, that is not a good answer, sir. Not a good answer. Plenty of things don't relate to you that you should be learning about. Get out of here. So
have empathy for other humans about.
Please God. So
be curious.
Right. Anything. That's all the curiosity. It's the curiosity. It's the asking about it. It's wanting to know more about her like inner working and like the way she thinks and what she's interested in. And she brought that up too, that it's like not even just about the values. It's like who I am, like wanting to know more about me, which I don't get that vibe from him either, like at all.
I think that she was the intellectual in that relationship, and I don't know that she wanted to be necessarily. I think she maybe wants someone who is thinking about things the way she is and can have more nuanced conversations.
Exactly.
And, it seems like they had a playful sort of thing going on, but I don't know. I didn't find him that playful.
No. Yeah, I think we missed some of that because she did describe them that way. And you're right, like we'd see little moments of it for a second but she was like, he's so funny. Like, I know I need humor and he's so funny. And she's like, I love him. There's a lot of things that she seemed really rose-colored glasses about him a little bit, which makes sense with the honeymoon phase. But I also think we were missing some of that because all we really saw was just how not attuned he was,
Yeah. Zoinks
is right. So going into Monica and Joey, you shouldn't have to ask someone to touch you and be near you. I was embarrassed of myself that I didn't see this man was into me. So Monica's saying that obviously about Joey. And he does say, like, I feel like we couldn't get out of the friend zone. That's fair. And he says the big reason for me was her sister because family is my number one. Well, so like I brought up last time, like I don't think it's just because family's his number one. I think it's also because and he does say that they both aligned on saying their sister was their best friends. So like I think he saw that looking a certain way based on how he is with his sisters. So when she wasn't the same way, or even though she's not the same way, he thought that her sister not liking him was the end all be all. Whereas for her, I think she was like, I don't need my sister to be on board. Like, but for him, I think he did feel that way about his sisters, so he applied it to her, and therefore it felt like a deal breaker. I actually do believe he might have felt like it was a deal breaker. I don't believe that's why they were in the friend zone. I actually don't. I think it's unrelated to the sexual chemistry. I think it's related to why they didn't stay together potentially, but I don't think the sexual chemistry was related to that. That felt much more about, like I mentioned last time too, that like for him, I think having sisters, he like is a certain way about sex already and not wanting to overstep at all. So that then when her insecurity a little bit, like learning to love her body, I guess is how I put it, which I stand by, like her being in a phase of learning to love her body, that they just didn't mesh well like that. And that they were like very bro-y. They were very like bro-y with each other, I felt. So he's like, you're blaming her sister. I said, you're blaming her sister, but maybe her sister saw your lack of commitment. Oh, no, that's what they said. I like that, Lachey. Okay.
I loved that. Okay. I was like, that was a good Lachey moment for me. I was like, thank you, Nick Lachey. Like, thank you for stepping up a little bit. He had one other moment like that I liked later on where I was like, okay, good job. Good job, you.
Exactly that. There were two interpretations. I totally agree. He had two interpretations where I was like, I'll allow it. That's very well put. And like maybe coached itself, but I was like, I'm really right in there with that. That's fantastic. And it's non-shaming and non-blaming. It's great awareness raising. Perfect. So nailed it with that. And he says, so do you think that you were transparent? And he says, she says, looking back, I was being emotional and he was jumping around. Like looking in the video, watching the video of him like jumping around in the room in preparation where she was really emotional. So they were on different pages about it, and that's fair. So you have a segment about this next part. Do you want to explain the part too?
Yes. I wish people knew more about. I actually feel differently about this after our conversation last week. You might be right in your interpretation where that like there I have love for you.
No, so that really got to me. I was like, yeah, it's nice. You're the perfect mom for that. Because you're like, I don't give a fuck. I'll wear this one to that one.
Exactly. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
I love it. Oh, fabulous. Well, that was fun. We are still going to do a do's and don'ts, and the do's and don'ts will have a lot of Madison, Alex, and Meg and Mason in them, because that's some of the do's and don'ts of the pods. That's our next Love is Blind podcast. I think next time we're going to do awards show, and then do the do's and don'ts, maybe, and then Beverly Hills.
Love it. Yay! Can't wait.
So check us out on social media and on Patreon. First, I'll tell you about Patreon. Patreon.com/realitytest. Or you can look up @realitytest with the @ symbol on our like search bar thing of Patreon. Check us out. It's like $5. It's only $5. $5 for your monthly subscription. And you get all sorts of like goodies, including the full video episodes. And you can see my sweaty upper lip that I fixed 5 minutes ago, because you won't be seeing that on the video excerpt that we put on YouTube. Whereas also you can find our video excerpts, which are about a half hour of the episode. You can find that at Reality Test Pod with the @ symbol on YouTube channel. That's our YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook at Reality Test Pod, but that's our name of our Facebook page. You can find our other social media stuff on Instagram at Dr. K Pods and at Dr. Ray Pods, and on TikTok at Dr.reality REALITV. And I'm bringing these things up because I'm also going to remember right now that we have an email. So email us if you have things to say. We want to hear about it. We want to hear your thoughts. Our email is realitycheckpodding, PODDING, @gmail.com. Always welcome to interact with us on any of those things. I have a video coming out with Alan, an Alan Cumming supercut. I did an Alan Cumming supercut from the season 3. So it's like all of the like little moments that were so funny. So you'll see that soon. Come check it out.
Cannot wait.
We love to see you.
We do. And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, tell all your friends so we can keep doing this thing we love. Please follow us on Patreon. I'm not desperate. I'm chill, but we would love if you
chill about it.
I'm so chill and easy breezy, but like do it, you know? I mean, do what you want, consent based. It would mean a lot for us if you would do that thing. Please and thank you.
Come join Daisy D and Jerry Lawrence, which we have not brought up your names actually in a while. So this is a shout out to our first two members. We still really appreciate you deeply. And friends, you know what? They both got free memberships because we were giving away free memberships to the first people randomly was the idea if enough people joined us, so they automatically got free ones. So that would probably be you too, because we're giving away like 5 free or actually it was gonna be 4, but we'll do 5, fuck it, free memberships to the 3rd tier. So you would get in that and you know, why not do that? Why not get a year free? And you can do that if you join us soon. So come check it out. Talk to you soon. Oh yeah, see you next session. Bye friends.
Bye.